Hey guys, it's been however long, put it on screen later in production, but yeah, this is different from my normal videos. Well, let's just say I've been wanting to do a video like this for a while. I've watched Dextrix for a while, title, and very much have wanted to do skin ratings, and very much have been trying to think of when I wanted to do this, but with a lot of things that's been happening lately, with a lot of videos getting canceled, I decided, because of certain technicalities and all that, I've decided to do this right here, right now. As you can see, just me doing gameplay in the background as we're discussing this. So, what I'm looking for with skins. So far, we're going to start with how Dextrix kind of did rating every fighter by stuff. We're going to do this in order from melee, support, melee, range, then support, all that jazz. And from there, we will kind of build off, going from sword all the way down to coil. Will some things be in order? Kinda. But essentially, how things are gonna go is that I'm gonna go in each order by fighter, going through all the skins, starting obviously from sword, as I stated. Then we'll go from next fighter, ranking all the skins. Some skins will have easy things because not many skins for that character, or other things. We won't be covering the base design though. We might do that later. But from there we shall kind of more or less ride with things. I'm hoping to do more videos like this. I don't know, I'm just kind of yapping for this first part, but essentially what we're looking through skins. Recognizability, like how blank is a character. For example, Extra Space, which we will cover very much later, has subspace vibes. We kind of want that for our character, like having the vibes of the character, but at the same time its own originality, which also kind of leads into the second factor of creativity. How creative is the character, like how original is the concept, or in general how cool it looks and how much is dedicated to it. Kind of a bit of bonus added on with that if the skin has special effects, such as special effects or anything added onto it, like sound effects, particles, stuff like that. And essentially we will go with each skin, rate it, all that yada yada blah blah blah. And I decided to finally do this, and I'm very proud of myself. So plan is from now on, maybe do vids with this. We'll see. Maybe an outcome memories vid or two. The plan is to just kind of lay low. It's around Christmas time. I'm recording this on Christmas Eve, so yeah. Well, at least this segment. But the plan is to hopefully get this video out soonish. May take long in production, but yeah. Melee part. So yeah, y'all. Sit back, enjoy the video. I hope you guys like this. If you want more, tell me. In this case, enjoy the show. For the first category, we're kind of doing this in order. Remember that for later. Sword. With this sci-fi sword, 9 out of 10 in this category because very much sword energy, but more leaning towards the classic design. Creativity, 5 out of 10. Sci-fi is good, but also not good. Here we have Marshmallow Sword. I say 7 out of 10 for recognizability, just for the fact of marshmallow, not really sword. But when it comes to creativity, it's a 10 out of 10. The general design, the art, the whole entire model, it's just perfect. Marshmallow. Now for Follower Sword. Recognizability is alright, 6 out of 10. Kinda see it for sword, kinda not. Creativity, 8 out of 10. Good design, I love it, but it's a bit a little bit overused from what I've seen. You can kind of see why later with other skins. Harpy Sword. Recognizability, I want to say 5 out of 10. I don't really see Sword really wearing this at all. Creativity is 5 out of 10. I can see where they're going with the vision. It's just not the best appealing. The bottle's great though. Next we have Sunburst Sword. I don't know how else to really explain this, but recognizability is like a 2 out of 10. It looks like a complete different character. Don't get me wrong, it's good. It just doesn't look like Sword at all. End of story. Now, creativity. What else are you gonna fucking expect? It's fucking 10 out of 10. It's just ever-loving peak. It's just a beautiful skin overall. The model, it's just 10 out of 10. Peak. Dextrix, take this little fuck, please.
Starting off with Hoverboard, I think we can all agree that the old version of this skin was, pretty terrible. But once they reworked it, it did get a lot better. And I really don't think it's that bad, but it's still a little basic. In terms of recognizability, it's very easy to tell that it's Skateboard because it just looks like him with futuristic armor. You could literally dumb down the whole skin to that. So in that regard, I'll give it a 10 out of 10 for recognizability. But in terms of creativity, I mean, it's okay, but the concept of taking wheels away from a skateboard to make it a hoverboard has existed for years. So for that reason, I'll give it a 3 out of 10 for creativity. Hoverboard also has some custom sound effects that make it sound more futuristic than regular skateboard, which makes sense because of the whole theme. And taking that into account, I would rate Hoverboard a 6 out of 10 overall. It looks pretty cool, but the idea has been done countless times. Now onto Snowboard, in the sense that you can easily tell that it's skateboard, and also the concept of a snowboard probably came from skateboards. You can guess the ratings that I'm gonna give this. 10 out of 10 for recognizability and 3 out of 10 for creativity. Although, Hoverboard actually had special sound effects and Snowboard doesn't, and that's why my overall rating for Snowboard will be slightly lower at 5 out of 10. Ego Boarder has to be the first skateboard skin I would actually consider good in this video. In my opinion, the idea of somebody in bulky armor zipping around on a skateboard which is actually a spear is crazy. It's by far the most creative skin we've come across so far, and the general design is pretty well done. I especially like that quote-unquote skateboard. The only thing that this skin suffers in is actually being recognized as skateboard. But, of course, if you see it in a game, you're probably gonna assume it's skateboard because they're zooming around on something. So I'll give this skin a 7.5 out of 10 in recognizability. For creativity though, I was already explaining why it's good in that regard. The concept of an armored knight riding around on his weaponry to go even faster is cool. So I'll give this skin a 7.5 out of 10 in creativity as well. But overall, taking the design, creativity, and recognizability all into account, I would rate this skin a 7.5 out of 10. I really hope nobody was expecting anything else. Well, we're on Surfboard, and might I just say, yet another concept that might be derived from skateboards. Wow. Seriously though, this skin is pretty cool, but it's definitely not because of the design. The design is clean and all, but it's lacking in my opinion. There isn't that much you could do for a surfer, yes, but I still wish it had something else to it. Where this skin really shines are the extra effects that it has. It has some extra sound effects for things like the M2, and a ton of different particle effects for basically every ability, and even just riding the skateboard without doing anything, just moving, it makes effects and it looks cool. But it is painfully obvious that this is skateboard. The only thing covering his face are some sunglasses, and you can literally see through them because they're glasses. There's nothing stopping you from thinking this is skateboard. So, again, just like Hoverboard and Snowboard, I'll be giving this skin a 3 out of 10 in creativity and a 10 out of 10 in recognizability. But for his overall rating, I'll give him a 6.5 out of 10 because I think the special effects really do something to help the skin out. Yeah, I can't say that. So, Heck Border is just like He's just so cool, bro. Like, why is he so cool? They gave this man everything. Amazing design, great sound effects, great VFX. It's all just amazing. And he's riding on a bike, bro. It's not just a surfboard or a hoverboard where they just stole the wheels off a skateboard and then recolored it or whatever. It's a whole bike. It's amazing. Alright, genuinely though, this skin is very, very creative. Some random biker from the deepest pits of the underworld becoming skateboard somehow? Yeah, okay. Need I say more? Come on. Creativity, 8 out of 10. Recognizability though. Oh, the recognizability, man. The only thing that makes this recognizable as skateboard is the fact that he rides on something. The reason why I would say Ego Boarder is more obviously skateboard is just because you can actually see his horns. On this skin though, the horns are obscured by flames. Those flames are very cool, but you can barely tell it's skateboard. Recognizability, 3 out of 10. But if we're thinking about everything, like the 2 past categories and the effects, I would have to give this skin a 9 out of 10. Just because it looks so cool, bro. Come on.
Alright, everyone, it's katana time. Let's break down the last skin, so here we go. Here we have follower katana as the first skin. For recognizability, it's kind of going to be in the middle with a 6 out of 10. You can tell it's katana, yes, but katana's more known for having darker colors. But when it comes to follower katana, it's gonna be hard. You can tell it's katana, but at the same time, it doesn't capture his essence. He's known to be more kind of the in the corner, dark and moody, having no friends. He's a bit too energetic looking, a bit too lively. Now on to creativity. See, this is going to be more or less an 8 out of 10. I know, some people are going to be complaining, but it's for the primary reason of they already did Follower Sword. It's slightly overused, as I stated before. I love this skin, yes, but at the same time, it was handed out as a festival skin. And also, we don't really have any skin theming. So, like, them just throwing this out there kind of seems a bit lazy, but not. I personally love it, I'll say that again. But it seems a bit too overused with Follower Sword right here, and there's not really linked skins in this game. Either way, really cool. Now for Neo Katana. The recognizability is going to be a bit low, mainly for 2 reasons. One, it's mainly because of the mask. That does not really look like Katana's mask. With Katana, you can differentiate who is who through the mask. And you don't really get that. Either way, like, it's a good skin, but overall, it's not really giving Katana, it's more like giving Katana a makeover and kind of making them a separate character rather than making them a skin. So, like, it's going to be at least a 6 or a 7. You know the numbers, I'm not gonna fucking say it. Burn alive, y'all, who are gonna fucking say it. If I see anything in this goddamn comments, I am going to scream. Anyways, sorry about that little crash out. Now, with creativity. This is low-key one of my favorite skins of Katana. Legitimately, I'm only giving this. I wanna give it a 10 out of 10, but but like at the same time, that's a lot of bias. But like at the same time, this video is, so like I'm going to put it roughly in the middle and say 9.5 for my own sake, because of I don't want to be hunted down for my own opinion. I know I'm not most likely, but like, this is one of the best skins, low-key. Underrated as fuck. My opinion. Now for Craptana? I'm hoping I'm saying that right. This is gonna be a decent 9 out of 10. it's very straightforward. You can tell it's Katana, obviously, again, with the mask, but it's more having, obviously, Krampus features. Now for creativity. I will say, this is an option I never thought of, so it's good to be creative. I will say it's an 8.5 out of 10. It's definitely very well designed, and it looks good. But personally, it's not a skin that I would very much main much. I may not have many of these skins, but it'd be very much a skin I would acknowledge. A lot. Because, yeah, no, Katana can fit the monster aspects at times. He is very much a demon, so to say. Now for Muay Thai. Personally, it's going to be a 3 out of 10. You can't really see Katana in this. This looks like a Stone Guardian. Low-key. In a good way, I will admit. Not really Katana. But when it comes to creativity, I will say it's going to be high. Like a 7.5. This skin is very much inspired by those. I know this is going to be kind of an Unk reference, but to some of y'all, but like Night of the Museum with the Moy head that calls Night Guard Dum Dum. I don't remember the Night Guard's name, but I know it's based on that, and it's a cool kind of callback to the Easter Islands, I believe. Yeah, Easter Islands. I'm not even searching that up. I'm just pulling that from my head. Now for Cyber Katana. Well, you can't get more recognizable than that. That just looks like Katana, except a bit more futuristic. Like, maybe it covers the mask because of the big Japanese-inspired hat. I don't really know the name of the hat. Sorry. But it's very much dope. 10 out of 10. Now when it comes to creativity. Personally, I love this skin. I don't see it used much compared to others. But when it comes to the whole thing with Katana deriving from Japanese culture and him having Japanese clothing, which also then kind of links him to other Japanese samurai. Good example, Samurai Jack. Samurai Jack obviously didn't get more futuristic look, but there has been a lot of concepts of more futuristic Japanese samurai. So this is personally going to go to a 7 out of 10. It's not overused as a concept, but not underused at the same time. Now, here we have Heretic Katana. When it comes to recognizability, it's going to be a 10 out of 10. This is Katana after all of his lore. After he escaped the Church of the True Eye. After he got banged up. This is him before anything going to the assassin he is. Whenever you see this in the lobby, you can tell this Katana. And low-key, I wish there was custom voice lines for skins in this game, because I would love to see a reaction with Scythe and Heretic Katana, where Scythe kind of more or less reminisces about the past. You know? It'd be dope. 10 out of 10. Now, when it comes to creativity, again, it's going to be a 10 out of 10. When I tell you that this was one of the greatest skins they came out with, like top 10, I'm telling you, this is top 10. Plus, it's free. It's a free skin. You get with the fest. At least it was free when it came to the festival. I'm not sure if it's totally free now. I'm pretty sure it's still free. It's a free skin you get just by joining the game. If it's a free skin, that's gonna give some bonus points there, because it's a free skin with its model looking absolutely gorgeous and explaining lore. That's gotta be a 10 out of 10, no doubt about it. Now for Fishertana. Low key, it's getting a 9 out of 10. The only reason for why it's getting a 9 out of 10 for recognizability is because of the meme skin. You can tell it's Katana, yes, but it's more of a meme skin than anything. But of course, we love our dad Tana. We need that Tana. Adopt the triplet, adopt the trio. Adopt the cafe trio, I swear to fuck. Now, creativity. I'm gonna give this a 10 out of 10. I know I just gave a bunch of katana skins 10 out of 10 all around. But it progressively gets better with every one I show off. Like, Fisher Tana is such a funny meme concept. I'm pretty sure along the lines he says he's getting fish for the kids or something like that. This is just a beautiful skin. Him using a fish as a weapon is beautiful. It's so peak. I shall glaze this skin to the end. There are so many fucking skins in this goddamn game. And there's very few that I just want to glaze. This is one. Alright, Dex, take it away.
Hello, I promise I won't be biased because it's Banhammer. Anyways, I don't think anybody is gonna deny that Frankenhammer is a cool skin. The lime green matching with the grayish purple really helped the skin out, and the small details like the screws in his shoulder and the stitches on his leg served to make it even better. And his hammer is still giant, so like, unless you're blind, I don't think there's anything stopping you from thinking this is Banhammer. So, recognizability is a 10 out of 10. As for creativity, I don't know whoever thought about Banhammer being Frankenstein, but it definitely was a good idea. I can't see anybody ever just coming up with this on a random Thursday, and the fact that it's one of Banhammer's best skins shows that whoever came up with that did a great job. So I would say creativity is a 9 out of 10. Also, side note, whenever you use M2 or Q on Frankenhammer, the sound effects and VFX are both different from every other Banhammer skin, as well as base Banhammer. Onto Sunken Hammer, all the small details combined with the glowing green make it an amazing skin. But the sad part is, most of the skin is so dark that you can't even tell what details are where. The centerpiece of the entire thing is obviously the giant anchor as a hammer, which everyone agrees is really cool, but I really wish the design of the armor was more visible. Now, if we're talking about recognizability, then of course people are going to think this is Banhammer because of the giant anchor in the shape of the hammer, but also, we have to consider the fact that Banhammer has a helmet on right here, so you can't see his face at all. You can still tell it's Banhammer, just not as much as the other skins, so I'll give it a 9 out of 10 in recognizability. For creativity though, again, I don't know who was thinking about Ban's hammer being a giant anchor, but that idea was great because the skin is amazing and I love it and it's just so good and it deserves all the praise in the world. So I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 in terms of creativity. And similarly to Frankenhammer, Sunken Hammer's M2 and Q has special VFX and sound effects. His finisher also has special VFX. So, Clown Hammer. I wouldn't say the skin is bad. I can't think of any fighting skins that are actually bad, but this skin is just a joke. This skin is literally a clown. It must have been made to not be taken seriously. But personally, I like the skins that are meant to be taken seriously because they tend to look cooler. Jokes are nice and everything, but I would rather not be taken as a joke if I were to use this skin. Also, it's very, very obvious that this is Banhammer. Giant hammer, he's wearing a ton of purple, he has a blindfold on, you know how it is. 10 out of 10 recognizability. So usually, I give a pretty high score for creativity on these Banhammer skins. This one won't get as high of a score, because I feel like the basis of the skins that I've already rated were much more creative than Banhammer becoming a clown, but I can't deny that the execution of the skin was still good, so I'll give it a 5 out of 10 in terms of creativity. And wow, who could have guessed? Just like the Q and M2 for the last two skins, this one also has special VFX and sound effects, and the finisher has special VFX. Rock Hammer is just so cool, bro. There's so many spikes everywhere, bro. It's so edgy, bro. It's so cool, bro. His whole hammer is a guitar now, bro. Every single attack has guitar riffs, bro. It's so cool, bro. Now to be serious, a lot of Rockhammer's design solely is in the front, and if you use him, then you can tell that there's not much detail in the back. That's the one place where I feel like the skin fails. And in terms of recognizability, it's pretty similar to Sunken Hammer. Both of them still have the giant hammer to be able to tell that it's him, but their faces are covered. So I'm gonna give it the same rating and say 9 out of 10 for recognizability. For creativity, I feel like everyone's just been waiting for Banhammer to get a skin like this. Ever since that one gif of him strumming his hammer as if it was a guitar came out, it must have crossed everyone's mind at least once. And then capitalizing off of that was a really good decision. Not as creative as if somebody just thought of that on the spot, which would actually be really impressive because personally, the feel of Banhammer really screamed somebody who would be into rock. So I'll give it a 9 out of 10 in terms of creativity. And again, just like the skins before it, Rockhammer's M2 and Q both have special VFX and sound effects. I think you can sense a pattern here. I definitely have some things to say about Dragon Hammer's creativity, so let's get into this quickly. Recognizability, 10 out of 10. I think you understand why already. You know, big hammer, blindfold, big guy. So creativity, Banhammer becoming a dragon might actually be one of the best ideas that anyone on the Baguio team has had. Because listen, since he's the warden, he can also be thought of as one of the most powerful people there. And dragons are mythical creatures that tend to be some of the strongest in their respective areas. Also, lava equals fire. Fire equals fire-breathing dragon. Oh! Yeah, honestly, I'm gonna give this a 10 out of 10 in terms of creativity. I don't know if they even meant to do all of these things that I mentioned, but they did it anyways. And you can't forget the infamous special VFX for the Q and M2 again.
Thank you, Dextrix, for your performance. Now here comes the final stretch with Biograph. Here we fucking go. Here is Floaty Biograph. Honestly, low-key, basic, but very cute skin. For recognizability, it's obviously going to be a 10 out of 10. It is way too obvious this is Biograph. This Biograph just put with some summer accessories on. It's just a little bean. It's just a little bean, and my subspace-loving heart shall always appreciate his creations, no matter fucking what. And if any of you call Biograph trash, you're going to the dumpster with fucking Shuriken. I hate Shuri's gameplay. And Coil's gameplay too. Coil is kind of complicated. Now for creativity, I'm sadly gonna have to make this a low, 6 out of 10. Yes, it's a very cute design, but it's literally base Biograph except some accessories put on. Maybe making a different color would be cool, but at the same time, I'm giving it a 6 out of 10, mainly because it's a beautiful skin, I will admit. It's a basic but very cute skin, but at the same time, it's all, again, basic. Here we have Biohazard. For recognizability, it shall be an 8 out of 10. You can tell it's Biograph when it's close to you, but when more you're going against it, when it comes to the skin, a lot of its aspects that make it differentiate from Biograph are completely, at least in quote-unquote lore stance, melted off, so to say. And more or less, you can tell it's Biograph again when it's close, when you're close to it and you're observing it. But once in battle, if you see it zooming around, unless you know it's a Biograph from, unless you have the skin, you're not going to immediately recognize it unless you have a very trained eye. Now, I'm going to be honest. Creativity is pretty much obvious. It's a 10 out of 10. They cooked with this. The radiation is so beautiful. It may take away some aspects of Biograph, but at the same time, it makes Biograph even more perfect. It looks like he crawled out of Chernobyl and became a speed demon. It's just utterly peak. Now, here we have Biocard. Biocard, when it comes to recognizability, I'm going to have to say it's going to be like a 3 out of 10. But even when I first saw this in the wild, I wasn't sure it was Biograph until I saw him zoom. And this was in the lobby, by the way. The lobby. So, yeah, no, it's hard to really see this skin as Biograph. But when it comes to creativity, that tips over the recognizability scale. You think you turning some mechanical thing into a jack-o'-lantern magical thing with carving knives essentially for For weapons, you have a demon ready to be born from hell itself. It's beautiful. It's just, if I ever played Biograph more, this would definitely be a skin I would use. Besides a certain other skin which I shall low-key glaze, like a Neo Katana. Because it's low-key peak. It's not underrated. It may be overrated some, but whatevs. And speaking of that skin, here we have Cocograph. This skin has been here for a long time, so when I say that recognizability is like a 9 out of 10, I mean it, because this skin's been here since day one. This skin was here before the skin shop, like the many other skins on this list for Melee. But this skin has been one of the most used skins in all of fighting, from what I understand. Everyone knows Cocograph at this point. Maybe new players won't recognize the skin, won't recognize the Biograph from the skin, or even know who Biograph is at this point. That's why I'm saying it's a 9 out of 10. But overall, you can tell it's Cocograph, and yeah, no, the 9 out of 10 is very much deserved. Now, creativity. I'm going to use it. This is a 10 out of 10. The fact that this is a murderous machine now running in hot cocoa is one of the most funniest concepts for me. This is, and the best example of this skin being I know this is being technically a bit, a little glazing and also biased, but this skin, when I was first playing fighting, Cocograph was one of the first skins I ever bought. In Sling's Cafe, he was in the back, right behind Cat's Shop. And when I tell you, this was one of the most funniest interactions ever, I loved it. I consider this boy canon in some sort of backwater lore of just Sling finding an old Biograph and just scrapping it and rebuilding it as a hot cocoa machine. It's beautiful. I love it. 10 out of 10 is very much deserved for creativity. Now, for the last skin of the entire video, we have Beta Biograph. Beta Biograph is obviously going to have a recognizability of at least an 8.5. I say this mainly because it does differentiate a bit from the standard Biograph. But if you are knowledgeable fighting, you're going to know this is a Biograph. And most people in the fighting community at this point know that this is basically a different version of Biograph, and canonically, there's multiple different versions of Biograph. So, recognizability is going to stick at an 8.5 because of this. Now, for creativity, I'm going to give this a solid 8 out of 10. I mainly say this because, of course, it's a robot. There's going to be different variations of said robot, because that's how robots are. There's obviously going to be upgrades, downgrades, different versions for different sort of jobs. Beta Biograph is made for kind of security, from what I understand from lore. Check that out later, because, yeah, I like my voice up this. But from Beta Biograph is a good concept of a differentiating Biograph, and personally, it's a good concept, yes, but at the same time, it's popular for different versions of different robots made by the same company, or different versions that stem from the same design. Now, we are at the end of the video. Wow, this took long to make. I finished this on June 20... somewhere in June, in the range of June. I'll probably put up the actual date. But this took from New Year's to June. This has been pretty much a year project. I will be working on the second part, aka range unit skins, which will hopefully be shorter, I think, because there's not many size skins. At least, I think there's around 4. Either way, this has been a passion project that I've wanted to do for a while. Have been procrastinating heavily, but pushed through. As you see on screen right here, this is a fun fact in Discord, that Illumina has 3 weed-smoking girlfriends. It's funny. But yeah, I wanted to close out and just thank everyone for watching fully through this video since it's long as shit. And also, thank you, Dextrix, for all the help. I will hopefully be producing videos more and not be a lazy ass bum. But the next step is to make a full theory. Because at this point, I decided to go fully through it. We're making a full theory video on Firebrand's involvement in death in the family, outside of him just being part of the Scorch. So, ciao, whatever language you speak, adios, bye, ciao, I hope that everyone has a good day, and isn't suffering.